Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
Delivered to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her, they've been yelling for her.
Turn it over to another agency. Let's get some help.
Where are your kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say? You're over here in Hawaii? Dad, where are Lori's kids?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Hi, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, Wolfie, K-Braze, Unravel. It's good to see you guys. This is going to be episode 1 in a new series that I'm doing. Hello, K. Danielle. Hi, Delana. So I want to dig into the Idaho 4 case while we wait for the trial, because obviously we know that it's going to be postponed. And we're going to have a lot of time probably to kind of go through things. So I've decided to start a new series. Hello, Seth. Hi, Nixie. It's good to hear you or see you. And hello, Princess Megan Elsa. Everyone joining, thanks for being here. So this is episode 1 of just a little series that I'm going to start doing. Just picking apart the case as much as we can before we can get to the trial. Now, there was supposed to be a hearing that took place today, and everything was very quiet about it. So I was like, did that even happen? So apparently it's been postponed. So more on that here while I share my screen, and then we'll be digging into specific topics in 1 second.
Kohberger is charged in the deadly stabbings of 4 University of Idaho students last year. In August, his attorneys filed a motion to get his indictment dismissed. A hearing was set for tomorrow. Court records filed today show it has now been delayed for 1 month. Kohberger's attorneys filed a motion on the grounds of a biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct by withholding exculpatory evidence. Kohberger could face the death penalty if convicted.
So due to an illness, apparently it has been postponed. So I think it's going to start again probably in October, or I'll let you know when we hear the most recent date. And hello, MK and Pointer Lover. Thanks for being here. Hi, Adrienne, Punksy, everyone joining me. Hello. If I miss you, I'm just trying to get through some stuff because I want to keep my live streams sort of around an hour from this moment on. It's just kind of easier for those who watch on replay and to kind of stay on topic. So one of the topics that I really want to kind of dig into today regarding this case and kind of pick apart, there's specifically going to be stuff that I feel like are just really big questions that we really have. There's so many in this case, like the 911 call, we don't know. We don't know even the dispatch for that. We honestly don't even know who 100% called 911. I know there's a lot of speculations and theories out there, but until it's all beneficial, there's just a lot of unknowns. So what I wanted to kind of dig into today is kind of talk a little bit about something that was mentioned in the 48-hour special. And one of that topics that were discussed, let me share my screen, is about Brian on Instagram. So as you guys know, who have seen this and who have been following this case, this is sort of something that they've been discussing for a while. And when I say they, I mean the Gonsalves family. They claim that they've seen the link between Brian and the victims. And so it was mentioned in the 48-hour special that just took place this past weekend that, let me just read this article. So it says, give me 1 second. Among the never-ending questions surrounding November 2022 murders of University of Idaho students, Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan was, did they know their killer? In the affidavit outlining the case, investigators say DNA, cell phone records, and surveillance camera evidence link the accused murderer, Bryan Kohberger, to the crime. But his defense attorneys say in the court filing that there is no connection between Bryan and the victims. So on that special, it says that they consulted with criminologists, and it says the defense is claiming that the defendant, Bryan Kohberger, and the victims have absolutely no connection. There's no motive. There's no reason for this crime to take place. So essentially, it's raising additional doubt in the jurors' minds. But Kaylee Gonsalves' family, Steve and Christy, the parents, believe that they have proof of a connection. And this is something that they've told even Olivia, Chronicles of Olivia, in her interview. And, it's been mentioned over and over that, in minutes of learning Kohberger's name, Christy said they went online, immediately started Googling. And I know a lot of us also did that. And there were screenshots of a lot of us kind of pulling up who we believed this is Bryan, this is Bryan. And, we just didn't know. None of the accounts looked like they were like 100%, or there was just a lot of mystery surrounding it. So I'm assuming, like they're saying here, that the family also did their little investigating like we were all doing. And they said they went online and started Googling. He was a PhD student at Washington State, they told us. We're like, PhD? What the heck is going on? Who? And it says, after they talked to 48 hours, they say they discovered the digital evidence and they showed a tie to Kohberger's and the two victims. In the interview, he says they took screenshots of an Instagram account, and we all have these screenshots. These screenshots have been going around for a while, but the big mystery is, like, is it actually really him, or were they troll accounts? Do you guys believe that they discovered the actual link on Instagram? Because Instagram has been mentioned so many times since this was going on. And it's good to see you. You keep changing your name. FB33I. It's good to see you. But I don't know. It's just been a big mystery with Instagram. So here's the thing. So they told 48 hours. Here's my question is, it says you would go to Maddie's Instagram and look at her pictures, and he liked them. He had liked them. Bryan's name was under a lot of Maddie's pictures, liked her pictures, liked that picture and that picture and that picture and that picture. So he was actively looking at Instagram account. So the Gonsalves say the account is no longer active. It disappeared shortly after Kohberger's arrest on the same day as the celebration of life ceremony. They said they got home from the celebration of life and it was gone. The Instagram account was gone. So that's been mentioned that Bryan was liking their stuff, right? So let me just share my screen a little bit, because I want to pull up an article that took place months and months ago before this 48 hours episode aired, where, they discussed that he was sliding into the DMs, which, for those who don't know that terminology, it's like private messaging them on Instagram over and over. And that was another thing that we all been wondering, like, okay, so is that real? That's a different narrative, though, than what they just told 48 hours. 48 hours, they said that he was following them and that he had liked all Maddie's pictures. So Tiffany's feeling like it's not real. I feel like there's just so many unknowns because there was so many different accounts going around, like right off the bat. Like, people were creating fake stuff, and then there was an account that people thought was his, and it didn't even have his picture. So the fact that they saw one that said PhD student at Washington, I'm like, okay. And then if it is true and he is, guilty, because right now we don't know 100%, if it's true or not, if he's guilty or not too. Why would somebody openly like all these pictures of somebody that they were going to go and commit this crime on? You know what I mean? So I would see if the relatives were legit on his followers. Yeah, I mean, now I don't even know if we can it's not up anymore. So even if he was liking their pictures, it still doesn't mean he did it. I'm sure many guys liked her pictures who she didn't know. Right. And it's like, would somebody who was going to do this crime, hi, Tony. Hi, Alex. Good to see you. Would they, like follow them and stalk them on social media and then go do this? Like, obviously, you're going to be found out. Um, the phone thing and timeline have been a huge problem, in my opinion. Yeah, for real. Wolfie doesn't think the account was real. Krissa does. So it's just, I feel like there's a lot of people who are thinking it is real and others who are just like not really there 100% yet. But I don't know. So this is the article just to show you where, one of this, what one of the sources were reporting early on. Now, this is the one about how he followed all three of the females. And this came from an anonymous source. Now I'm thinking after the 48-hour special, and I think other people were kind of wondering too, like, so were the Gonsalves the anonymous source that told people this? Nothing wrong with that, because they weren't part of the gag order, but I'm just like curious. So like, is all this Instagram narrative and information coming from the family? And I'm just wondering that because, is the source a law enforcement source that told people this? It never really was specific. So this was on January 19th of this year. Bryankohberger, the man accused of killing Idaho 4 college students in their beds last November, followed all three of the female victims on Instagram, but they didn't follow him back. Authorities have not said if the victims knew Kohberger. Again, this is an older article, but suspects now deleted Instagram account, which was reviewed by People before it was removed. So now People is claiming that they reviewed it. So how many people like found this and like which one is it? Because we all looked at it too and we just never knew which one was the actual one. So that's interesting that in this article that they're stating that they themselves reviewed it, because I swear in other reports on this topic, they've just stated a source told us. I don't know. Alex says, yes, agree. It's the family and they're not truly accurate, and nothing against them saying that. And I 100% can see that and feel like you're accurate there. Like there's just certain things that like maybe they're just too close to the investigation, like emotionally, obviously, because it's their daughter and sister, that things are kind of off as far as the information that they're finding and stuff like that, but at the same time, they were able to get into her phone and other things that were vital to the case and investigation, but all those things could have been done by law enforcement still. It's just a situation where I guess we don't really know until trial. And that's why it's kind of on my list as one of the biggest mysteries in this case. What is the link between them when we have the defense stating no, there is no connection between Brian and the victims, and then we've got People magazine, or not magazine, but now it's just People and sources and the family stating we saw it. And I mean, there were even web sleuths, YouTubers, whatever you want to call them, that were also reporting that they found the account and this is Brian's Instagram. So, and they were all different too. I think even News Nation had Jennifer Coffindoffer on showing the account and people were like, no, that's not real. Like, I don't know. There's just like been a lot of confusion there about this Instagram stuff. So it says Kohberger allegedly messaged one of the three female victims repeatedly 2 weeks before the slayings. An investigator familiar with the case previously told People. So now this part of this article is stating that People themselves seed it, because it says reviewed by People, talking about the account. Then it also here says an investigator familiar with the case previously told People. So is the investigator Jennifer Coffindoffer, or is it an actual investigator working in the case? You know what I mean? Because Jennifer Coffindoffer on her Twitter had stated that, this is his account and he was liking Maddie's stuff, and all that. Good night, Seth, and hello, Heavenly Clouds, and everyone else who's joined us. Johnny, Shay Benet, good to see you. Lisa, Derek. Hi, everyone. So I don't know. It's interesting. Where is it coming from, and is it accurate, and who is the investigator? So in late October, an account that authorities believe was, okay, so here it's saying that authorities believe that account was Bryankohberger's, sent the message to one of the female victims. When he didn't hear back, he repeatedly sent her several additional DMs, which are the private messages. Basically, it was just him saying, hey, how are you? But he did it again and again, the source informed people. Kohberger apparently never received a message or a response. The victim may not have seen them because they went into a message request, says the investigation source. Instagram users are not notified when they receive a message from someone they do not follow back, and the messages go into a separate folder. We're still trying to determine how aware the victims were of the existence. So with that being said, I'm just going to play Court TV's little clip that I had added to the documentary I did. And just to kind of say, because I trust Court TV, I think that for the most part, I haven't really seen them posting anything inaccurate when it comes to the cases that we've been following. And, their reputation, for them not to double check things, but they claim their source is People. So it seems like they're all using the same cross-reference.
2 weeks before the slayings of 4 University of Idaho students last November, the man now accused of killing them sent a series of messages to one of the victims on Instagram. An investigator familiar with the case tells People in late October, an account that authorities believe belonged to the accused killer, sent a greeting to one of the female victims, the source says. When he didn't get a reply, he sent several more messages to her. He slid into one of the girls' DMs several times, but she didn't respond, the source tells People. Basically, it was just him saying, hey, how are you? But he did it again and again.
According to that. So again, it's just interesting to look back and see things and see, okay, it started off with he was following 3 of them on Instagram, and then it kind of switched to that he was liking all of Maddie's pictures, and then it was he messaged them on Instagram and they never responded. So I'm just curious, it's stating investigators close to this case are reporting this stuff, and we have the family members reporting this. I don't know, it's just a big mystery pretty much, and I'm just curious what you guys are thinking. Lisa says that's just hard for me to believe. I don't know, I really don't know. Hello, Ashley and Eddie, it's good to see you guys. Are you guys believing the Instagram connection? Because for the defense to file that motion, which came out after this Instagram information, because that article was January, and so was that clip from Court TV. So for them to be reporting on it, and then for the defense to because when they sign those motions, everything has to be, for the most part, truthful, or they can get in trouble pretty much if you're falsifying information through these motions. So exactly, it's hard to know what is actual fact until trial. So that's on the list tonight. Hello, Joey Brooklands, good to see you. That's on the list tonight as one of the mystery topics that I wanted to discuss. Now I want to kind of segue it into something. Hang on. Let me gather my brain for a minute. Okay, so on the topic of there being, Derek wants to know, anyone think he was going in for an SA by threatening with a knife and not murder? I do, in my opinion. I never thought of that. I do feel like most certainly that Maddie was the target. They kept saying somebody was targeted, but they would never say it. Tony's saying it could be right, like about the Instagram stuff. I don't think Ann Taylor would have said there's no connection if he did that. Right. I mean, because that would be a digital evidence trail. So it's just very mysterious. So for her to say that there's no connection, and for me in my mind thinking that Maddie was the target, I can't help but kind of go back. Hello, RAS Illusion. It's good to see you. I go back to that clip of them walking to the food truck and, that whole discussion with Hoodie Guy. And they're like, what did you tell Adam? And she says, I told Adam everything. I just am feeling like maybe there is more to that than we thought. If Maddie was, thanks for becoming a member, Eddie. Thank you so much. And hello, Scottish Queen and Sherry. If we're to believe that someone was a target and to theorize, because we don't actually know 100%, that Maddie was that target, that kind of backs up and corroborates the information that the family said in 48 hours and that Instagram is supposedly showing that he was messaging her and liking her pictures over and over and following her, but she didn't follow him back. Is that conversation about Adam something more? Like, I just feel like there is something to that conversation walking to the food truck. I told him everything. I'm also feeling like the calls to Jack over and over from Maddie's phone and from Kaylee, I'm feeling like, what if that was something too, Like, I'm just thinking about the timeline here, and for these situations and conversations to be had along the way, and, them calling, I don't know, it makes me wonder if something was kind of stirring or something that we just don't know yet. But then we have the defense claiming there's no connection. So it's all just blowing my mind. And now remember when that Adam clip came out and people were talking about hearing something underneath, like the conversation or right before she says, what did you tell Adam? And she says, I told Adam everything. Yeah, they called Jack 10 times. All the secrecy in this case makes me question everything. I know, me too. Calling Jack 10 times that late at night after they had just seen him at the bar, I mean, it is really, really like puzzling. That's all I can say. And it could be nothing. It might come out to be that it was just, that's what they do, or there was something that needed to be discussed, maybe regarding the dog or something. But some people say that they hear Hoodie Guy say something before, she says, what did you say to Adam? And they're claiming that he says something along the lines of, they're going to get you for this, Maddie. Do you guys believe that? Like, do you hear something? Because I know we've all gone over it over and over, and I'm going to play the clip again. I turned it up too. So that's everyone's warning for the audio in case it blasts in your ear. Like, I've turned the volume up a little bit. So when I share this, just be prepared or adjust your volume the way you need to, because I'm going to play it a few times over and over. But I've turned it up and kind of sharpened it so we can kind of re-listen to it, because I never really went through it on this channel. I know a lot of other people were going through it on their channels. Hello, Roxanne and Joe Lookin. It's good to see you guys. Lisa says she could hear it. I feel like I do hear something. I couldn't hear it at first until I did it through my editing program. And you can actually see, like, when audio is on the editing floor, or when you see it like being spoken on a 911 call and it has like the sound waves going up and down, you can see that. So something is being said. And people are saying you can clearly hear Jack say, Maddie, they're going to get you for this. So let me just play that. Hello, Brooks, and everyone joining us again. Just be cautious of your ears. If you're got headphones on or whatever, because like I said, I turned it up. Kaylee's sister said she was relentless with the phone and wouldn't give it up, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's like, is it something with the phone calls to Jack over and over, or is it nothing? It's just another thing on the list tonight of huge questions. I think JD is more involved and or was told previously what was going to happen and was told at the bar not to answer the calls. I mean, anything is possible at this point. All right, so this won't affect you, Joey. He says, I'm deaf anyways. Perfect. Hello, Anonymous. All righty. I thought what was said was, Kaylee, what did you say to Maddie? Yeah, that was, but before that, there's like a edit, there's like a little bit that you can hear before that said, because it's further away from the camera, so it wasn't picking it up as clearly. Or is it, guys, help me out. Is it before they say, what did you say to Adam? Or is it after? Either way, it's further from the mic and the camera, so it's kind of muffled. And I've turned it up, so let's listen. So Tony says, I always thought you said, Maddie, they're going to get you for this. So I hear they're going to get you for this, Maddie. Something. Let me play it again. Again, some people hear it, some don't. The first time everyone went around with this audio over and over when it first came out, I was like, I don't hear it. I don't hear it. Like, I don't know what everyone's talking about, but I don't hear it. And then now I've gone back with like, I don't know, fresh ears, I guess you could say. Now doesn't make sense. Besides, why would Ann Taylor say there is no digital connection? It's just all weird. People taking these convos out of context, probably, in my opinion. And that's kind of what I chalked it up to at first. Like, that everyone's reading into this Adam stuff too much, and everyone's reading into they're going to get you for this, Maddie. So let's just listen again. Sorry for those who have sensitive ears. They're going to get you for this, Maddie. I don't know, guys. So, I mean, some people hear it, others don't. I didn't hear it at first. So that was on the list tonight for one of the biggest mysteries that I feel like could be something. See, okay, so Unravel said, I just sent you one, better sound messenger. Okay, let me see. I'll put it up to the speaker. Some hear it, others don't. And even if he says, they're going to get you for this, it could be, like we said, something being taken out of context or, just joking around. It's hard to know, but it is something that's like, I chalked it up to nothing at first, but this time around, re-looking at things, it could be something. Maybe it is. So hold on, let me play Kelly's that she sent me. And thank you so much, Unravel. Okay, hold on. Got to turn my phone up volume. That might help. And thanks everyone for being here while I get this situated. If you haven't liked and subscribed, it's all I ask and it's totally free. Thanks for sending that. So it is after they said, what did you say to Adam? And hello, DMC. Thanks for being here. I don't know. See, yes, some people are hearing it. It could be absolutely nothing, but when you think about what took place just, a couple hours later, right after those phone calls, "Hello, Carol freaking Claus, it's good to see you." It really makes you wonder. That's all. That's why it's on the list tonight. Again, there's a lot of things that we're going to go through in this case that kind of fall under the biggest mysteries and questions. This is just episode 1. So that's one of them. Now, what I want to go to in a second, let me just get my little screens situated. Okay, so I want to read first off the closed hearing that was postponed. I thought this was noteworthy. It was on Twitter. It's from, I'm going to always call it Twitter, sorry. It's from a local to Idaho. So this absolutely is her taxpayer money being put towards these trials. And she says, I disagree with the closed trial for Bryankohberger. I disagree with all closed hearings. Taxpayers are footing the bill here in Idaho. We have had and are looking at millions and millions just for 3 cases: Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, and Bryankohberger. So I don't know. I thought that that's noteworthy to kind of share somebody's who's local to the state and their opinion on these hearings being closed. And, they did the private or the secret grand jury hearing. And of course, anything related to that will be closed in the future, including the one that's been postponed. But I just think, you know what, this is what people in Idaho are feeling like. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm just feeling like if they don't have cameras, which we discussed in our last live stream regarding this case, if they decide not to do cameras in the courtroom, it's only going to fuel more like conspiracy of like them hiding things, in my opinion. Again, we obviously want Bryan to have a fair trial, and if his attorneys are saying like, no, we don't think that the cameras will help give him a fair trial, it's just unfortunate for those, like that person in Idaho who are just fed up. They did no cameras in Lori Vallow trial too, but that one was more of a solid case, I feel, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. It seems had more ground to it than Kohberger's, because I just feel like there's been so much conspiracies and rumors and all that with Bryan's that, because in Lori Vallow's trial, we got to see the preliminary hearings for Chad's and hers, like some of them. Yeah, a lot of people, hi Riddler, said that they'll be upset if there's no cameras. Even audio was just not, I don't know. Yeah, there's so many rumors. Hi, Nicole Morgan. It's good to see you. And I'm glad you guys are here. All right. So this aspect is another kind of mystery, in my opinion, or something that I hope gets cleared up at trial. And when I say cleared up, I mean like actual proof, because this is regarding how, when they were surveilling him for days before his arrest, that, they witnessed him discarding his trash in his neighbor's dumpster and just stuff that they claimed that they had seen of him doing during that time before they arrested him. I just really hope that they have the body cam footage and the cameras to kind of back up that claim, because a lot of people have been using that to say, why would he be wearing gloves if he's innocent, separating his trash from his family's trash and putting it in a dumpster outside and in the neighbor's trash. Like, I just hope that there's evidence to back up all that, because all of that obviously doesn't look good for him. And, obviously helps the prosecution out. And if he is 100% guilty, then yeah, you're caught red-handed. We got you on camera. So I'm curious, do you guys think that they have camera footage of all that? Or, I really hope it doesn't come out to be like, well, no, we have a police officer note that states that that's what they witnessed. I just hope that there's more than just paper forms of this investigation in aspects like that. When they said that they saw him cleaning his vehicle out at like early morning hours and all this stuff, like I just really hope that, yeah, exactly, they best have it. All that needs to be kind of backed up because, yeah, I do too. Delana says, I do think they have more than we think. I really hope that that is, able to be backed up 100% because it's vital in showing like the transparency of the investigation honing into him because as you know, the defense is already trying to they haven't come out and said it blatantly, but they've dropped hints and verbiage that indicate that there is like planting of things and I don't know, just very questionable things being done. So Scottish Queen says, you would think if they were surveying him, they would record it, but who knows? It's one game of legal chess. I think they have more we have yet to see. I'm really hoping so. Hold on. Let me just reference this little segment, also in the documentary, but it's from the mainstream media that I've clipped in it, discussing more about what they had witnessed while they were surveying him.
All 4 victims were close friends and part of the University of Idaho's Greek system.
Federal investigators observed him in Pennsylvania around 4 a.m. as he discarded garbage in his neighbor's trash bin just days before his arrest. Police linking Kohberger to the murders by collecting his father's DNA from trash outside the family home and matching that to DNA they say they discovered on the button snap of a knife sheath that was on the bed next to the body of victim Madison Mogan.
The search warrant confirms that police had Bryankohberger under surveillance for a few weeks before they made their arrest. They raided his parents' home in Pennsylvania around 1:30 in the morning. At this point, information in the case started escalating quickly. After they completed the search warrant on Kohberger's parents' house, they also released body cam footage from 2 pullovers that took place while Bryan was driving home to Pennsylvania with his father from Washington.
Hello, how you doing? How y'all doing today? Good, good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick.
All right, I won't put you guys through that whole pullover stop again, but I mean, digging all up in the garbage. Yeah, and they said at 4 a.m. he was seen doing that. So that means, there should be some timestamps or something that kind of corroborates that aspect too. Like here we have him on this video here and you can see the timestamp 4 a.m. or, something. But then Johnny brings up a good point. They might put these detectives or whoever witnessed this like on the stand and they might, obviously you're sworn under oath to be telling the truth. They might say, did you witness him doing this, that, and this? And they're going to say yes. So, they could very well not show the video maybe, and they just show the, just have the witness, the detective up on the stand. So that was something that's interesting to think about too, because I'm over here hoping that we get like this video footage, how good is it going to be? Hello, Criminality. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I've been loving you digging into the Delphi case and all the documents. I definitely have learned a lot just from following your episodes on that. So nice work. And I'm giving you a wrench. If I can find you. There you are. All righty. So this is like the last little mystery that we're going to talk about tonight. Like I said, this is only the beginning of us kind of digging through some of this case and kind of re-looking at things. I did that when I edited the documentary, but at the same time, that was only one time going back. Now that we're going to be waiting for the trial, you know what? Like I'm just going back to articles and videos and all that and kind of going through some of the biggest questions. So one of the ones that I have too is, let me share my screen. This is an old article and something that was going around very early on. It was reported by more, not just Daily Mail, but this is the one that came up when I was kind of searching this topic. And it's in reference to the medical appointment. It says Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger attended routine medical appointment in the days after the killings where he was very chatty and charmed staff. Now, who else do you guys remember said he was much chattier in class? Remember that one of his fellow students said that he was arriving late to school or to class, but he was much chattier and more animated. So, if this is true, then the medical people at this appointment are kind of corroborating his sort of temperament, I guess you could say, or behavior at that time. I think so too, Pointer Lover. She said, I think his sister called in a tip. I would not be surprised. Johnny says, I agree. They might if they were watching him, and they will have him on the stand probably. Yeah, the detectives. Interesting. So we, just some digging, and we've seen in other cases and other trials when there's medical information and stuff like that involved, the courts can issue a HIPAA subpoena for the medical records. So this requires the recipient to produce evidence or testify at a court hearing. So they very well could call up this doctor or this medical staff or pull up whatever took place at this appointment with a special subpoena. So, I mean, honestly, I think that would be very interesting to know like more about this doctor visit. I'll reread what we know from this point of view, and it's just surface level. Again, what's the date on this? So this was January 11th. So very early on after his arrest, at least. Let me read. So he attended a routine. Now that is interesting because he wasn't from Washington. You know what I mean? So it's like, does he have a prescription that kind of got transferred over to a new doctor and stuff over in Idaho from Pennsylvania where he was living prior? What does this routine aspect mean? What do you guys think about that? Switching screens, sorry. So routine medical appointment, excuse me, in the days after the killings and charmed staff by being chatty. Kohberger, 28, attended a medical appointment just 4 days after Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan were murdered in their off-campus home, November 1st. Wait, what? Why does that say November 1st? Yikes. So he has since been charged with the murders. A receptionist at the doctor's office who spoke to Insider on the condition of anonymity said the murder suspect was so friendly her boss took notice. The receptionist said her boss commented that he was so nice and charming. A neighbor who lived in the same apartment complex as Kohberger and Pullman described him as chatty in the days after the murders, but added there was nothing suspicious ever about him. So a neighbor and that classmate and these receptionists who's seen the doctor state this. A receptionist at the doctor's office who asked for anonymity. I can't even say that again. But obviously they want to be an anonymous source. Said that he was so friendly. He was nice and charming. She never says that about anyone, the receptionist said. I was like, yeah, he really was. So, what was that appointment about? Said Kohberger had been a difficult teacher prior to the 13th and seemed to lose interest in teaching after it. He was not a great TA. I don't know. I think that doctor's appointment has some answers or some interesting aspects to it, possibly. But just another aspect that we just won't know, but we might find out more information out if they subpoena those HIPAA records. So do you guys think they will? Yeah, he might have had it booked ahead of time. Don't sound like him, what we've seen and heard. Right, super chatty, because remember one of his first bosses said that, they kind of let him go. He wasn't really like friendly with the customers. So for him to be super chatty and all that, stated by a neighbor, a classmate, and now this doctor's appointment, unless you use the appointment as a witness to your physical body after the crime, I don't know. That's what I'm wondering, like if there's any relevancy for anyone to kind of subpoena those records. But okay, yes, some controlled scripts require regular visits as well. Right. Like I know Adderall does. Like you kind of have to go back and see them if you're prescribed that. He had to have it booked. Doctor appointments are booked out these days. Yeah. I'm just wondering if that was like for a prescription, maybe for like mental illness stuff, because we have heard rumors that there's he had seen visual snow. So I don't know if any of the defense or the prosecution thinks that it's relevant, maybe they'll want to hear from that doctor. All right, so what I want to do now before we kind of close out, because like I said, I'm trying to keep the live streams like an hour-ish. Yeah, you do have to jump through hoops for Adderall. They do ECGs and blood tests also regularly when you're on that stuff, like once a month. My dad has taken it. I'm wondering if like maybe any of that information would be useful, like whatever was in his blood tests or whatever, although they probably weren't testing for any specific things. But, oh, thanks for being here, Jay Warren. I appreciate it. Let me just switch up and play. I haven't watched this yet, so I figured I would watch it with you guys. It was from a few days ago on Banfield. I've kind of taken a break from her, but getting back into this stuff. There are other ADHD drugs. I don't know. We don't even know if that's what it was for, but just something to kind of think about. Would any of that information from the doctor's appointment be useful, or is it just nothing? Oh, thank you, MK, and thank you, Delana, for letting me know. And welcome to all the new members. Thank you so much. And that's very kind of you, MK. I appreciate it. So this is Banfield. I'm going to listen to it for the first time with you guys.
So you can imagine my surprise waking up to hear that Bryan-Kohberger's getting special treatment in the Latah County Jail, because I thought, no, he ain't. At least not that I've seen, right? I kind of have been following every single moment of his life in that jail, and none of it seems special. So, of course, Brian Enton would get to the bottom of it. Of course he would. All these reports out there that say he's got a special computer, that he's getting special meals, that he's allowed to wear fancy suits. Brian, what? I'm not so sure that's really true, is it?
Yeah, so these reports came out this morning, and I've learned that most of it is not true, at least according to my sources. I have learned that he is using an older computer that is not connected to the internet. It is the same older computer that all the inmates get to use. And the only thing he can do on it, since it's not connected to the internet, is he can put a thumb drive into the computer that has his court documents on the thumb drive. He can review the documents, he can make comments, he can resave to the thumb drive, and then he can give that thumb drive back to his lawyer. Again, that's something that all the inmates in the Latah County Jail get to do, according to my sources. As for all this talk about the vegan meal, I am told it is just rice and beans. That's it, rice and beans, and that anyone else in the jail can have rice and beans also, if that's what they want.
Okay, because you and I have been talking at length since January about vegan meal options. We got the menu back then. You reported back then it was rice and beans. So why would anybody start to think that having a vegan meal was special? You can have a kosher meal, you can have a halal meal, you can have a vegan meal. It's all part of the prison system. It's not special, it's not new. Do you have any idea?
Since when does Ashley Banfield say ain't? That was weird. Is she like referring to how, I don't know, I'd seen like some headline recently that Steve Gonsalves said that they thought that Brian was getting special treatment or more special treatment in jail. Is this like a rebuttal to that, or what's going on? Jay says she's gone all hood. What is going on right now? Like, is that what this segment is about? How he had said recently to Mainstream that he thought, hello, Deco, that he thought that Bryan Kohberger was getting special treatment because of the vegan stuff. So she's saying, like, he ain't getting special. What? Is that what this is about? I don't know. Because I know that the title of this clip was like, Idaho killing suspect Bryan Kohberger's life behind bars revealed. Brian N. has learned that Bryan Kohberger is getting no special treatment in jail despite recent reports. Okay, so this is about the recent reports. So that recent report, from what I remember, and you guys let me know, that was Steve, the victim's father, stating like that he thought that the vegan diet was too accommodating. She had a segment saying that he did get special treatment and came thereafter, right? She's just all over the place. She wants to sound extra offended. What is going on? And like, why like make a segment about disagreeing with what the father says? Like, if he felt like it was special treatment, like he's in grief. He doesn't, and now she did this whole thing to kind of reiterate, like, no, everyone can have rice and beans if they want it. I don't know. It's just weird, isn't it? I'm sorry. I'm just reacting to this with you guys. I've just never, I didn't know that this whole thing was about like rebuttaling what Steve had said. It's called drama, LOL, right? Totally. I got to hear her say ain't one more time.
Meal, you can have a halal meal, you can have a vegan meal. It's all part of the prison system. It's not special, it's not new. Do you have any idea why all of a sudden someone started to think that vegan was special?
Well, look, I think that it's troubling what.
And she very well knows that that's someone special, or someone thinks that it's special. That's Steve. Like, he's the one that had come out recently saying that he thought that Brian was receiving special treatment in jail. So for Ashley over here to say, like, somebody thought, it's like, you're talking about Kaylee's father, the victim.
Well, look, I think that it's troubling.
Do you have any idea why all of a sudden someone started to think that vegan was special?
Well, look, I think that it's troubling what Bryan Kohberger is accused of. You see him come into court in the suit. You hear vegan meal. You hear that there's a computer involved. It makes people mad, and I understand that based on what he's charged with. You don't want to think about him having some kind of, privileged time in jail. But when you really dig into the facts, I mean, it's rice and beans, and it's an old computer that every single inmate gets to use just to plug the thumb drive in and read the court docs.
So here's something else. The picture that's in the middle of the screen between us. This has bothered me since day one, watching him walk in and out of the courtroom in the Latah County Courthouse / jail.
Yeah, Shay says she thought he had special treatment too, though. She interviewed former FBI about it, and then Brian did this segment to correct it. So she also was kind of backing up what Steve was kind of feeling, and then now she's going back on like, no, like Brian said, if you really dig into it, you'll see. I don't know. I see. So she's just all over the place. I'm wondering if she's using her burner phone to talk to Brian, right?
house. It's all the same building. He has a fancy suit on each time. He does not walk in and out of that court in jailhouse orange, which every pretrial hearing typically is. There's no jury present. So you're not, tainting a jury by watching him walk in and out in an orange, jumpsuit. They give him this suit, and I've been trying to figure out why.
Yeah, I think there's 5 suits that he has now. Again, I understand why that's bothersome to the victims' families. I mean, it's weird. Even when I've been in court, you see him come in the suit. There's no shackles. Basically, the defense has asked the judge, and the judge is allowing it. They're worried that if, people see him on TV in the prison uniform, if it could possibly taint the potential jury pool. It's actually interesting. I didn't fully realize it, but Lori Vallow was also able to do that. Chad Daybell, Murdoch also, even before.
Everybody is innocent until proven guilty. So he hasn't even had his trial yet. So it shouldn't be new that you can actually you're given the opportunity to wear like whatever before you're like, in these instances during hearings and stuff. Like, I thought that everyone kind of knew that. Obviously, they're just making a segment on it, but yeah, it's kind of common knowledge. I feel that everybody kind of knows, like, yes, even though we see it as kind of wrong, they're innocent until proven guilty. They haven't even been presented in front of the jury. So if they want to come across, as like, looks better by wearing this suit or dress, whatever, then they have that right. Everybody does, like in America. So
before the trial. So apparently with some of these high profile cases, this has kind of become a common trend lately.
Well, and with other ones, we've seen them shuffle in shackles and shuffle out in shackles. So I think it's just, case by case basis. So I can see how some might think that that's special treatment. I knew you would get to the bottom of it all, Brian Enton. You know how much I love having you on the show.
It's always good to see you, Ashley. Yeah, I can see the perception. You heard vegan, computer, but I think when you find out the real story there, it's not special at all.
It's not so special, but you are. So thank you, Brian Enton. And
it's funny too how they say you hear vegan, you hear all this stuff. It's like, but you guys were putting out those reports and titles that were saying that. It's just funny. Okay, that's pretty much what I wanted to wrap up. But I was also thinking another thing about the 48-hour special that I just wanted to kind of touch on my opinion about it is the part where the Gonsalves family was stating the position that Kaylee was in. She was sort of trapped, you know what I mean? Like in that corner or whatever took place, because it says that she fought back. So I just kind of wanted to add on to that too, that when I had heard that, my first kind of response and opinion was like, unfortunately, the way that we've seen that 3D diagrams for the house and the tours that we've seen of that house, I feel like that's the case with almost like with all of them. They were trapped. They were in these rooms that were extensions off of the original house. And that household shape of it is just so strange that like, it really is like every single one of them were trapped in their own rooms, very small quarters and all that. So that was just something I kind of wanted to add on to that too. Like, yes, it's terrible. Like the way that we can kind of visualize like how she had woken up, and it was probably Maddie first. But I'm feeling like I felt that way too about Ethan as well. Like if he was sleeping and, they're in that small room, that's sort of, I feel like they were all kind of trapped. But we're going to be going live on Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesday, I'll be doing a Delphi deep dive. We're going to re-examine that case. Been following Alex Erickson's channel on her deep dive into it, as well as criminality and so many others that are going over it. And I just want to go through it with the clips that I have saved up and edited together to kind of re-examine things, because I do have a playlist on that case, but I'm feeling so different about things since the new stuff coming out. So I want to re-look at stuff there too. So again, this is only episode 1 of sort of our biggest mysteries and questions in Idaho 4. And we'll be going on with other episodes too regarding this case, and we'll be following other cases that are active too. So we'll talk very soon, and thank you all for being here, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much. And Roxanne's always saying that I forget to say bye. I just kind of go black screen and then tap out. So goodbye, everybody, and have a great weekend.